Hello everyone, Tina here for LDRS Creative. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to create a card, an interactive card actually, using the Barnyard stamp set. Now, the neat thing about the coordinating die set for the Barnyard is all the windows in that barn will open up. Super cute, and I thought we'd add some little hidden images in there along with put our sentiment in there to make it kind of surprise when you open up your card. So let's jump in. We're going to do some stamping. So I'm bringing in some white cardstock, and we're going to take the barn. It is a pretty large image. There's actually a barn and two clouds. We're going to use both of those on this cardstock here. There's enough room on top to add a couple of the clouds here, and then we're going to stamp them with black ink. I'm using my Raven ink pad. It's a hybrid ink that's alcohol marker friendly, and so that's good to go, but I think I want a few more clouds, so we're just going to take an acrylic block and add those two clouds to the block and do a little bit more stamping. Now, on top of the barn, there's a little rooster, a rooster weather vane. I'm going to stamp that 4 times along the bottom of another piece of white cardstock, along with some more clouds. I just wanted the little rooster. He was like the perfect size to put on the inside of the windows, so I stamped 4 of those. Okay, I'm going to zoom in, break out my Copic markers, and we'll play a little music while I color. And I did list the colors for you guys along with leaving the caps out. But when I'm finished coloring, I will get you back. Okay, coloring's all done. Now I'm just taking the frames around the windows were very fine, so I had to definitely go over the window frames with my white gel pen. This way they're nice and crisp and you didn't see any of that red that I went outside the lines with. Okay, we're taking the coordinating dies for the clouds. We're going to die cut those out. Now, if you wanted to fussy cut out the roosters that I stamped down below, you very well could. But what I'm going to do is take the coordinating die and just line it up over the rooster on the bottom. We're going to do the roosters first here. And then this way I can just die cut out. Since there's clouds on this panel, I can use that large die and just run it through. And you can see here it just cuts out the perfect rooster. Since it's on the end, it cuts off the end, but we're going to scissor the bottom portion of the vein off anyway. Okay, I'm just going to continue, line up my dies, and die cut out lots of clouds. Now, my idea was I wanted to use a sentiment that says cows that going. So I wanted somehow to incorporate a cow in my card. So I thought it'd be fun to create a black and white background with the clouds. Since the clouds could kind of emulate spots on a cow, I thought we'd use a black background with the white clouds. Okay, here is my die cut image. Isn't it so cute how all the windows open up? I just love that. Even this little silo window will open and then the heart punches out. Super cute. Where's that little heart at? Right there. And I'm going to keep that heart. We're going to add that to another window. The front doors are the bi-level doors, so they open halfway and full way. I don't know what it is, but I wish I had this barn. Not that I have very many animals to put in it, but I think it's so cute. Okay, I think the little roosters were the perfect size to put in our windows. We are going to create a fence. This is where I'm going to bring in my little country fence. This is the pocket size. It's the perfect size for this little barn. So I'm die cut that out with white cardstock. And then I also brought in a piece of black cardstock that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. The fence will actually fit the length of your card base beautifully, but since my panel is slightly smaller than my card base, it does hang over on the left and right, but no worries. I added very thin strips behind my fence, and this way you can add a little bit of dimension. If you don't want to mess with the fine strips of foam adhesive, you could actually die cut out 3 of the fences and then layer them together with glue. I think that would work just as well. Okay, we're going to take a pencil, line up our little barn, and then I'm going to draw a pencil mark on the inside of each of my windows. This is going to give me a guide on where to put my images and where to stamp my sentiment. Now originally I was going to stamp my sentiment directly on that black background panel and then heat emboss with white embossing powder, but I thought it was just a little too dark. I wanted to brighten it up a little bit, so we're going to bring in some yellow cardstock and trim out a barn shape that will fit right behind the barn. I think the yellow is just going to make it look a little bit more brighter, especially with that black background. So we're just going to add our barn to our cardstock and then trim around it. This was super easy to do. You don't have to worry about the rooster, basically just the outline shape of the barn. And then once this is ready to go, we're just going to redraw those pencil marks. This way we know where to put our images inside the windows. And then also we can stamp our sentiment. I'm just going to line it up, and then we're going to trace those windows once more. And I'm going really lightly with my pencil. This way I can erase it. I don't want those pencil marks showing. Okay, once this is good to go, we're going to stamp our sentiment. Again, I'm going to use the cows at going, but it didn't fit lengthwise, so we're going to mask off the cows for now, and then I'm going to ink it up with my black ink, add some tape to it since we're masking it off, and then this way we can just stamp it going. We'll stamp it inside the window, and then this time we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to mask off the it's going and just stamp the cows. So we have the full sentiment, it's just in layers. I'm just going to use my pencil, and we're going to erase our pencil marks just on the large door, and then we're going to go ahead and position where we want our little roosters peeking out. I want one behind this little door here. We're going to add one up here on the top. I think next to that rooster, since it is a wider window, I'm going to add a little dot of glue and we're going to add the heart. But the heart was almost the same color as my cardstock, so we're going to color that itty bitty heart in with my red ink, just using my Copic marker. We're going to add a little red heart. We'll add that to our window, and then we're going to add one more rooster on that silo window. I'm going to leave one rooster. I thought it'd be cute if one was sitting on the fence, so we're just putting 3 inside the house, and they're good to go. Now we're going to take our barn, just add foam adhesive so that one's ready to go. We're going to flip over our barn, and then I'm going to add some foam tape behind it, making sure that I don't hit my windows. That way they can open and close. And then I'll just place my barn on top of my yellow cardstock here, kind of just lining it up. I want to make sure my sentiment's straight. I think I got it a little bit crooked, but in real life it's really not that noticeable. So there's my little barn. And this little guy, I had it on foam tape and it was kind of uneven there, so I had to adjust. But we have a little rooster there. We have a little heart and a rooster there. And I don't want to be at their house early in the morning. I'm afraid all these roosters would kill me with their crowing, waking everybody up. But I'm going to add, I'm going to go ahead and add my barn, and then I'll do a little tucking with the clouds. The larger cloud I'm going to adhere to my black cardstock. The smaller one we're going to overlap and add foam adhesive to, so we have a little extra dimension. Some of them are going to be overlapping on this black panel. I end up trimming off the excess, and I used one of those little pieces up in that top corner for a little bit more balance. We'll just add that piece. And I think kind of looks like a cow pattern, so I thought it just looks very, very bold, but I like the outcome. I'm going to use my scissors and trim off the excess. We'll just flip it over, and then once we have all the excess trimmed off, we're going to use our tape runner and adhere this to a standard A2 size card base, which is a top folding. You can see I have a little bit of a border. Now, I plan on mailing this, so I knew if I mailed it, all those windows would stay closed, and when they're closed, it doesn't look like they open. So to fix this, I had a little sentiment says look inside. I stamped it on some white cardstock, and I thought, just in case these doors seal during delivery, the recipient knows to open up those windows and doors. To see their little surprise in there. So I stamped that. I just used one of the stamp sets I had in my stash, but if you don't have a small one like this, you could write it out that says look inside on a thin strip of paper. I added adhesive. I'm going to add it to the bottom of the barn door there. This way, when I mail it, this recipient just knows what to do. Basically, we're helping them along. Okay, I'm not going to add any bells and whistles. I think this is bold, and I love the outcome. I hope you do too. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. If you're interested in any products that I use, they're listed below. Have a fabulous day, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.